So tell me, what's your credit score? You have a really good credit score, a really bad credit score? Because if you got a bad credit score, this is the perfect video for you. Even if your credit score is really good, I still want you to watch this video because I want you to take everything you learn here and teach it to your friends and family with bad credit. Because when you have good credit all your life, there are things that you may not have ever experienced, things that you're just completely unaware of when it comes to people with bad credit. So let's get into this video, but before I do, make sure you guys smash that like button. It's really important. We're trying to grow this channel, and leave me a comment as well, and make sure you subscribe. When you go to the doctor, how do you know that that's a good doctor? Let's say you go to the doctor and you've got some weird illness, some illness that's been going on for quite some time, and you're trying to really get this checked. And you're going to this new doctor and you're trying to figure out, okay, does this guy know what he's talking about? Does he really know what he's doing? Well, one way you can judge him is by making sure that he's focusing on preventative medicine. He's not just talking about how to fix your illness now, how to fix the symptoms, but what you can do in the future to make sure that you don't come back into his office. That's the same thing here when it comes to your credit. It's very important to first talk about preventative medicine. So in terms of creditworthiness, credit score, that means, very simple concepts. Don't charge to your credit card more than what you can afford, pretty much like right then and there. If you look at your bank account and you don't got the money for it, don't charge it, okay? I mean, you're gonna have to find another way to make yourself stretch, but don't use a credit card as a vice. Second thing is, you wanna be proactive about your credit. You wanna be proactive about your finances, and that means doing things or not doing things that's gonna put you in precarious situations in the future. So maybe that means car maintenance, okay? Maybe that means making sure that you don't run your tires down, to the wire. It means getting new tires as you're supposed to, getting your oil changed as you're supposed to, changing the brakes when you're supposed to, because otherwise that could lead to some sort of financial catastrophe. You think you're saving money now, but really it's just gonna end up in some big lump sum in the future, and you don't have the money, and then you use a credit card to pay for it. And then you might even convince yourself and say, oh, well, that was an emergency. What could I do? I had to use my credit card. But you don't think to take a step back and realize that this could have all been prevented if you had been proactive. So another thing you can do to be proactive, or rather it's what someone else can do to be proactive for you, is to put you as an authorized user on their credit card. So let's say you're a kid and your parents end up putting you as an authorized user on their credit card. They don't even have to give you the card, okay? Whether they do or they not, you're riding on their coattails. So your credit score is automatically going up. So about time you actually do need some sort of credit, you'll be like, oh wow, how the heck is my credit score already an 800? I don't even have any experience with credit. Well, there you go. So let's say you're in debt and you're having trouble paying your loans. What do? Well, the first thing you want to do is to call them, literally call your lender and just tell them what's going on. Tell them that you're in a precarious situation, and secondly, tell them what you're going to do to get out of it. Because if they hear that you have a plan to get out of it, they're going to level with you, okay? So you want to talk to them. And when it comes to student loans, this is such a common problem that you may not even literally have to get on the phone with anybody. It's just a form on their website saying, where you just click a button and say, hey, I want to go in forbearance. I need some extra time to pay my loans. I'm in a bad situation. And boom, you don't have to pay your loans for a couple months. But of course, keep in mind that the interest is probably still going to rack up during that time. A similar thing you can do is ask for income-based repayment, where you say that, hey, I'm only making X amount of money and this minimum payment is too much for me. Can you let me pay maybe only half of that? Okay, and they might let you do that, but you got to be careful, because if you're paying less than the minimum payment, you may not actually be making payments towards the principal of your loan. The principal is like, the original balance that you actually owe. Your payments might only be going towards the interest, which means that your loan is not actually getting paid off. One thing you really want to do is to avoid a late payment on your credit report. If you go X amount of days without paying your bill, they will mark on your official credit report that you are late, and that will instantaneously drop your credit score. I'm talking about instantaneously drop your credit score. It could be 30 points, it could be 100 points. But having even one late payment, that's when you start to get in the gutter. So you make one late payment, right? Okay. That's bad, but you miss a second one, then that's really getting bad. If it keeps on going on, eventually the person you owe money to, that credit card company or whoever, they're gonna write this off as a loss. After about 180 days, which is 6 months, or it could be 4 months depending on the lender, they're gonna say that this is a loss in our books. They're gonna write off the debt. And what they're gonna do is they're gonna get another company to pay the debt for you. So they're gonna pay pennies on the dollar. So you owe $1,000, they may pay just a couple hundred bucks, okay? And so now they've written off the debt, but the debt is written off for them. It's not written off for you, okay? So this is called a charge-off, okay? So you still owe that debt, but now you primarily correspond with this third-party debt collector. Okay, these are the annoying people that you hear about that will blow up your phone and send you threatening, angry letters saying, hey, you better pay this debt or blah, blah, blah. So when it comes to charge-offs, you got good news and bad news. The bad news is that if you decide to start paying down your debt when you have a charge-off, it actually doesn't help your credit score. Okay, the good news is that it does help your credit report. Your credit report is a list of all the debts you owe. It helps your credit report because when a lender looks at your credit report, they're going to see that you've paid your debt. Even though they see that big bad boogeyman charge off on your credit report, they see that you've paid it. So at least you are like an honest person in their eyes that you pay your debts, right? But it's just not going to help your credit score. So, but there actually is a way that you can get it to help your credit score. And the way you do that is by getting it deleted, removed from your record. Now, how do you do that? Well, the way you do it is you call them up and you say, hey, if I pay this debt, I want you to agree that you're going to remove it from my credit report. And even before you do that, you may want to ask them if you can negotiate down. Usually they will negotiate with you. Instead of you just paying the full $1,000 that you owe, you could pay like say $600. Okay, so you pay less money and you get them to delete it off your credit report. Okay, if you're having trouble doing those things, you may want to go to the original lender and say, hey, if I pay my balance due in full, will you remove this from my credit report? Okay, and they may do that. They may remove your late payments. They'll remove the charge off. They might be willing to do that. But the goal is you definitely want it removed from your credit report. That's extremely important because getting that charge off your credit report will help your score in a major, major way. One other really good benefit to paying off a charge off is that it helps your debt to income ratio. Okay, so you're applying for a loan. They're going to be looking at your debt to income ratio, whether you're buying a house, buying a car, getting any sort of another credit card. Okay, they're going to look at all the debts that you owe and divide that by your income. And so if you pay off that charge off, that's one less debt that you owe. So that's going to help you get more access to credit, more access to capital. I want you to ask yourself, can you handle credit? Do you trust yourself with the credit card in your hands? Because if you don't, it might be good to just go the Dave Ramsey method and just completely cut up your credit cards, never use credit again. But I would encourage you to try and find some strength and be able to use credit cards in a moderate way, in a responsible way, because there are some benefits. You can make money from credit cards. Okay, the way you do that is, you just simply, it's kind of like how you go to the store, you buy things with your debit card. Instead of you buying something with your debit card, use your credit card. And when you buy things with your credit card, you get cash back. You get 2% cash back. You can even get more than that when it comes to rewards. You can get maybe 3, 4, 5% cash back. So it depends on the credit card. And you add all that up, and that's either more money in your bank account, or you can use it to get free hotels, free flights. That's what a lot of people do because it's fun to do it that way. So that's one thing you want to think about. So it's also important to make sure that you monitor your credit. Okay, this is important because you want to know when your credit score is going up or down, and it's also a security risk. It's also a security benefit to make sure that you are monitoring your credit. That way, if someone opens a credit card in your name somehow, some way, you'll know. You'll see that a new auto loan has been opened in your name. You're like, what the heck? I didn't buy a car recently. So you'll know right then and there. And the way you do that is you can sign up for a lot of different websites. There's Credit Karma, which is so-so. It's got a nice app, but it uses the Vantage score as opposed to your FICO score. The FICO score is what you really want to be aware of. And you can get that from Experian.com. You go to Experian.com, you sign up for a free membership. It's going to ask you to pay a bunch of money. Just ignore that. Just click free. I want the free membership, and you'll get your FICO score. And I think it's updated every month, and you'll get alerts anytime someone runs your credit score. So we talked about a lot of good stuff here. We talked about how to monitor your credit score. We talked about how to get your credit score out of the gutter, get rid of those charge-offs. Talked about preventative medicine. So it's a lot of good stuff. And after this video, I want you to watch the next one that I made on the big factors that make up your credit score. So if you made it this far, I want you to write in the comments, I want you to tell me, how are you monitoring your credit score? Which app, which website are you using to do it? Are you using Credit Karma, using Experian, Credit Scorecard? There's all sorts of ways to monitor it. If you're not monitoring, I want you to go to one of those websites immediately and sign up for it. And I want you to tell me, how are you going to monitor your credit, okay? Write that in the comment section so I know who my true fans are. All right? See you next time.